I speak now to Al Jazeera's Zein Basravi, who is in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. We mentioned at the top there, Zein, the death of our colleague Anas Sharif's 65-year-old father is just another reminder of the human toll that this war has taken on journalists and their families.
That's correct. Al Jazeera is no stranger to losing people. Where I'm coming to you live from now, our offices here, where the offices where Shireen Abu Akleh, our Al Jazeera Arabic colleague, a journalist, a giant in her field, she used to work here. She was killed by an Israeli bullet last year. So far in Gaza, at least 80 media workers, 80 people working for media organizations have been killed throughout the course of this war. 78 of them journalists, 10 of them women. Now, in terms of our reporters and colleagues who've been facing trouble, it's been happening across the occupied territories. Gaza in particular is definitely a very, very difficult place to operate for anyone. Here in the occupied West Bank, we had a cameraman who was taken out of his car and beaten up by settlers on his way to work. But it is in Gaza where our journalists have faced some of the biggest challenges. They've lost family members in the dozens. It really boggles the mind. I'd like to go through a list of the people that have been working under incredibly difficult conditions so far in Gaza. Wael Dahdoueh, the bureau chief, the Al Jazeera Arabic bureau chief in Gaza, buried his entire family, save one daughter, and was back to work almost immediately. Muhammad Abu al-Kumsan, a broadcast engineer, a satellite engineer. Without these guys, we would be as good as radio. He lost 19 members of his family during the war. Mu'min al-Sharafi, a correspondent for Al Jazeera Arabic, lost 22 members of his family. And Safwat al-Khalout, our producer in Gaza for Al Jazeera English, lost his niece, the daughter of his cousin. And of course, Anas al-Sharif, tragically today, lost his father in this Israeli attack. Now, many of the journalists on the ground have been receiving threats well ahead of these kinds of attacks. Whether it's a pattern or not, the indiscriminate targeting of civilian areas means that journalists are coming under these kinds of attacks as well, those of them that are on the ground. Anas said after the attack that killed his father, he tried to get back to his family home. The rubble, the roads, the ongoing bombardment, the danger there was simply too much. He wasn't able to make it. And if you've been watching our reporting, our Al Jazeera English correspondent, Yumna al-Sayed's very personal accounts, very harrowing accounts. She's been in the middle of these strikes. With her has been her family. So these are very, very personal conditions. Those of our journalists, as well as journalists working for really any media organization, reporting from Gaza right now, they are reporting things like the areas running out of water or running out of electricity or running out of food. They are going through the stories they are telling. When they talk about not having enough food and water for the people there, they are among those people. These are stories that they are telling. They are, in every sense of the term, very much living those stories. It is very personal, and we have to remember that since Israel has blocked off all of the crossings into Gaza, Egypt has not been able to have an open crossing between Egypt and Gaza. We're unable to get them more support. We're unable to send manpower, unable to send supplies or relief of any kind. So the reporting teams that are on the ground now, ours and others, are working under tremendously difficult circumstances and very much living the story they're telling.
Zein, thank you. Zein Basravi, live for us in Ramallah.